And so this song for me is definitely the peak of the album, theme wise, at least. It definitely is like, okay. And then after this, you kind of go through Kendrick's mindset of the realizations that he has. And the realization is definitely thanks to genius. They mentioned it perfectly that it's a key aspect of the later half of this album. Just okay, this shit happened, now let's figure out what I want to do with this life that I have, this one life, because I am real. And that's such an interesting, and that leads us into the next song, right? Let me make sure here, pretty sure, yeah, real. And this is where, like, I feel Kendrick, and this is a question for Hughes. I know Voss has listened to Lil Mac Miller as well, but we really dove into Mac Miller a lot, and I feel like this is where Kendrick and Mac Miller kind of separated paths wise, and that's not to say Mac Miller's music wasn't good, right? We've talked about a lot how he was still able to fucking make phenomenal music, even though he was in a horrible headspace. Kendrick in this song, it's like, man, I am real. Like, this is my fucking life. I have to take responsibility over this shit. Whereas I feel like in I'm Not Real, the song featuring Earl Sweatshirt, is that right?
Yep.
Yeah. In watching movies, it's I'm Not Real. And you really get to see, this is why it's so interesting doing Kendrick and looking in this song in comparison, because his angle of being real is like, man, okay, I am real. The shit I'm living in is real, and I need to take responsibility of this life. Hughes, you see what I'm kind of shooting at here?
I'm giving you the crown today, Will. I really am.
You.
You like to crown me, and I appreciate it. But man, you're killing it today. I mean,
Hey,
seriously, that it's a great point because what we talked about on the last Mac Miller pod when we wrapped it up, the tragedy of his story is that he knew what to do, but he couldn't do it.
yeah,
That's the tragedy. Is he knew it. He talked about it for years. I mean, listening to Faces again, which was made in 2014, 4 years before he died. I mean, he was kind of resigned to his early death then,
yeah,
but he kind of climbed out of it. Like he learned some things and he climbed out of it, and he still ended up falling to the things he knew he would fall to. And that was another thing is he didn't look at life as a real thing. He looked at it as like an abstract idea. And he talked about dreaming all the time.
all the time.
So all the time. I mean, that was one of the main themes if you really dig into his discography like we
Yeah,
have.
yeah,
And I mean, I think this is a great point from you that this is where it definitely turns because Kendrick realizes, hey, I am real. Like he realizes what is not only that he is real, but he realizes what's real in life.
yeah,
And going back from the last song, there was a line where he was talking about all his craves like money, sex, greed, and then he says the next one is going to be my grave. And he it's kind of that realization where he's like, all this stuff that people think is cool, like that kills people.
hmm,
And it kind of brings me all the way back to the opening song Shireen too, where the lust with him wanting to have sex with this girl. And that's kind of that first skit we get at the very end, where, or actually it comes, maybe it's still ahead, I forget, but he sees two big dudes come up to his car as he pulls up to her house, and he doesn't know what's going to happen. Like it's kind of like a foreshadowing moment where he's like, oh shoot, did I just get set up? It's kind of like he's realizing that all these things that he thinks are good, like that can lead me to death,
hmm,
and I have to figure out what's next and how to get out of this. And I mean, the I'm dying of thirst thing, we didn't really talk about that, but
yeah,
the skit at the end,
yeah,
what he's talking about is this pastor or whatever talking about how, you young men are dying of thirst for the holy water. And that's another prevalent theme in Kendrick's music that, kind of that guiding light of really any God you want, but just kind of having that guiding light of truth and love. And that's something that he's kind of really diving into now where him and his friends, after, Dave gets killed, they really commit themselves to a better life. And that's kind of where we see this album turn now, where it's kind of more of a positive, uplifting, and you still get some of the, you know, some of the Compton stuff, but it's definitely, the tone has changed a bit.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite lines in one of the whole skits, and I don't have it pulled up, so I'm not going to be able to say it exactly, is this is like your she says something like your life just ended, but this is the start of your new life. Your life where you take responsibility, and your life where you realize like, okay, what I does have impact. And that is something that I think Kendrick really took, and it helped empower him.